Hello and good day to all friends. This is Mojtaba Rasti. I'm from the Thales group, and today is October 26th, 2025. I'm here with you. Today, I'll be analyzing Bitcoin using the Thales Market Screener tool. Please note that these analyses are for educational and informational purposes only. If you use this information to take positions in the market, the responsibility for any profits or losses will be entirely your own. So, a few hours ago, we saw a really strong and solid upward move. We witnessed an attack on the 114 ceiling, which now will probably be broken as well. Given the time left on this candle and the momentum we saw on the previous one, it's likely that this level will be broken. If you've been paying close attention over the past few hours and days, downward moves have been met with buying, meaning that here, as you can see, we had a decent move down. And here again, well, break time equals 0.5s/. There's a bit of resistance to the price dropping, which clearly shows that, in fact, the market direction is probably changing. If we switch to the daily time frame, you'll see, even though it's Sunday, today's daily candle has been quite impressive. Just an hour ago, the RSI actually crossed above the 50% level. It broke through to the upside, and the last time we actually went below the 50% level, as you can see, it was pretty much on this candle, right on this candle, the same one from that terrifying night we went through. Actually, the RSI dropped below 50 on this candle, tried to cross back above but could not, got rejected, and then dropped again. And here, look at this red candle with a long wick. What did it do? This candle reversed and took out this zone. See, right here we have a rally base drop. This base that formed here was the origin of this drop. If you take this base from wick to wick, it clearly forms a zone. Then the wick of this candle came and basically absorbed the orders in this zone, and you can see that it was strongly rejected downward. This was the second attempt. Now, this is a zone where its orders have already been partially consumed, so there's a chance that we might break through and it could get broken. So keep in mind that this zone was actually the origin of the drop that happened here. With this wick that we saw, it's already been hit once and we've already consumed its orders once. If we look at the weekly chart as well, what's interesting on the weekly is the weekly candle. Our RSI has come and it got confirmation from the 50% level, came up, hit the 50% level, and got confirmation to move upward. Secondly, this candle is almost engulfing last week's candle. It's basically reclaimed most of it, and if you consider the time frame, if we had, for example, a 2-week time frame, these two candles would be the result. It would be a hammer. So add this one to that, because these two candles would make the result. A hammer with a really long wick, which could give us a completely bullish signal. Most likely, considering this situation, it's expected that this resistance will be reclaimed, but it's still not certain yet. But there's a chance that our weekly candle could actually come down a lot and reclaim the previous candle. So it seems like things are turning around, and maybe that bottom we saw at 102 was really the bottom. And there's a possibility that we won't go back down anymore, meaning even those 104 and 105 levels that we've talked about many times in the analysis. We used to talk about them, but it seems like they might actually be a thing of the past now. Of course, for now, all of this depends on us reclaiming this high. And next, the most important level is this area around 116,000. If we reclaim that, then the whole story will probably change. Let's move on to the market screener and see what we've got there. From the start of today up until now, for the expiration date, Tomorrow, October 27th, let's also set the database to raw. 2,585 bitcoins have been traded in the form of 1,283 option contracts for October 27th. And you see, it's bullish. The overall shape is bullish. And yes, it wasn't like this before, but now it's turned bullish. I mean, right now, the new trades that have been added are strongly B. Anything above 112,000 is in profit. If we turn on the delta, of course, when we turn on the delta, there are some extra explanations to give, and that. This means that we're at the top, meaning we're in a place. Look, from 111, our delta has turned bearish as the price increased, meaning the top was seen at 111. Some traders are still expecting the price to stall in this range, but how long will this characteristic last? Up to a certain point, here, 107, and here, the end is 129. So if our top is confirmed here, then the story will change. Those previous tops we've reclaimed, if the price breaks and hits 114 or 116, it will probably change the trader's behavior. If we move the slider forward, you'll see that the red curve becomes more bullish. Now, the delta still looks the same, meaning that on the upside, with the increase in Sharifia's options, we have more calls selling. You see, it gets volatile here, it gets volatile here. If we zoom in, we're facing volatility that's pretty much present right now. At this peak, its profit is 114,200, 116,800 is its ceiling, and its floor is about 116,800, roughly 1,200 and 12,000 is its floor. So here, there's still a chance that we might continue this bullish move if we go further. You see that this structure has been maintained. Let's move on. Let's go to the processed database. The processed database. At first glance, it seems possible for the movement to go either way, but it's leaning bullish. As you can see, delta penetration depth suggests the bullish move is more likely to continue upward. Does it become profitable above 115? This is where it gets interesting. In the processed database, we become completely bullish with 498 Bitcoin. We don't really have much negative open interest either. From 10 o'clock today, since this morning, we've actually turned bullish. The contracts that are set to go bullish for tomorrow, from this very point upward, are in profit. So, they see profit from 114 upward, and it could go up to 116 or 117. So, the goal is apparently to hit this ceiling, to hit this resistance. Alright, so as we move forward, let's see, it's still bullish. So, in our directional database, the outlook is bullish. Let's continue. Now, let's move on to drawing the indicator and the zones. Here, you can see the intersection point of the buyer and seller curves. Our upper agreement is at 114. It's interesting, this morning, the agreement point was right at the break-even line, even a bit lower. Now, the number has moved up to about 114,100, and it's completely in profit. The lower level is at 110,500. And, in loss, and above, the zone that's formed is an agreement zone between buyers and sellers. The seller doesn't want anything above 114,500, while the buyer wants above 113,500. So, this is an agreement zone. Let's enter the points into the indicator and continue. Alright, as you can see, the bands. The indicator bands are pulling sharply upward. Look, especially the lower band, the very bottom, has gone up a lot compared to previous days. The upper band too, take a look. It has broken its previous high and moved higher, now sitting at 114. You can also see that the trend has turned around, and it seems like it's gradually gaining bullish momentum. It looks like the movement is slowly gaining bullish momentum. Let's move on to drawing the zones. Here are the zones, upper zone and profit zone, which is the area of agreement. The point of contact in profit is at 114, and until this high is broken, we're not too far from fully touching the zone. The top of the zone is 114.500, the bottom is 104.500, and the middle zone is around 113.500. Profit and loss ranges from 112,000 to 113,000. The lower zone, not really an agreement area, ranges from 108,700 to 111,250. The zones are compressed. We have to see what happens in the coming hours, but most likely, we'll see another attempt by the price to break this high, even though it's already touched it so far. If it decides to turn back down from here, well, this would be the second time it's rejected from this area, and it might create something like a double top. We'll have to see if it can break through or not. So, based on what we're seeing as the current consensus point and the overall shape of the curve, especially in the processed data phase and also our indicator bands, for tomorrow, the outlook is bullish. I think we're heading to break this high and then go for 116. Now, let's see how things will play out. Alright. Let me activate the short contracts here. Let's check the delta and gamma. So, the biggest gamma we have is on the gamma music for the ticker, at 106,700, which is basically a put buy. That's where the maker's gamma comes from. Short gamma at 106,700, 106,700. Here, this bottom, pretty much this bottom right here, is where the ticker bought puts and the maker sold puts. Most likely, the market maker basically sold puts. And our next gamma is at 112,900, 112,900, where the maker is long gamma at 112,900, which was here, and it got broken through. Meaning we've passed it, so now it should act as resistance. For now, we've broken through it, so let's see how things develop from here. That's it for the gammas. Let's go to the next expirations. Let's take a look at the next ones. I'll remove this one. Very good. If we add the 28th expiration, you'll see that the situation becomes volatile and it happens again. In my opinion, it suggests an upward move, but let me remove tomorrow's expiration first. Actually, Tuesday alone, October 28th alone, 518 Bitcoin isn't that high, and the situation looks volatile. The volatility ceiling is at 114,500, meaning the price is currently moving toward that ceiling, and it's likely to happen. We're heading toward 114,500, and we'll probably go up to that point. Alright. October 29th, 732 Bitcoin, and again the ceiling is seen around the same area, around 114,500, and look at October 30th. October 30th is bullish. This is very important and interesting. On October 30th, 366 Bitcoin were traded, and it's aiming for above 114,300. The trades that have come in from today, and for October 31st as well, it's bullish and aiming for above 118. We see it's in profit above 118, and the curve is completely bullish in shape. Now, we can go further. There's a bit of a downward lag coming up, but the pattern is still bullish. So it seems we're on the path toward 117 and 118. We're starting to move back up. Little by little, we're moving away from that. We're distancing ourselves from those bad market conditions. Okay, let's get back to. Let's review our initial setup for tomorrow and take a closer look at the trades on X. Out of 2,585 Bitcoin, 1,348 were bought. Of these, 806 were call buys and 542 were put buys. As you can see, the call buys are really dominant. They're really dominant. They want above 114, which we've now reached. And look, from what time? If we calculate from now, these trades were entered about 18 hours ago. Check it out, 18 hours ago. We were in this range, if you count the candles. Look, there are about 3 hours left of this candle, and with this 4-hour candle, that makes 7 hours, 11 hours, 15 hours, and 19 hours. We were basically at this candle, right here, when the trades came in. So, check out this bullish move. Look at this bullish move. This is where the calls got triggered. So, are these calls that are 300 or 400 more than the puts actually being realized here? Above 114. It wants to, so if we follow its steps until we reach the strike price of 114 and 200, we'll hit the strike price. Meaning, if it breaks through this ceiling we talked about, and if it's really a bullish and strong upward move. Next point is intersection of 115,600. If it reaches the delta end, it could hit 117. We need to see if breaking this area leads to a pullback or just keeps going up. Alright, if that's the case, let's see where the puts are. The puts see profit below 111,400. From right here, where the price started to move up, everything below this point is seen as profitable, which also lines up with our lower zone. Let's see what the sellers are doing. 1,237 Bitcoin sold, 706 Bitcoin call options sold, 531 Bitcoin put options sold. They're pretty close, but the calls are about 200 more. The main resistance is right where we are now. Around 114. Where do the puts want to go? The bottom is at 112. They don't want anything below 112. Below 112 means right here. That is, the bottom of this blue zone of ours. The bottom of our maximum profit and loss zone. So if we break through 114, we might have a pullback. Or we might form a flag pattern here. We might have a bit of a breather here, and then attack 116 if we can successfully break through this. Can we draw up such a scenario? Alright, that's it for the detailed trades. Let me refresh this. Let's go take a look at the processed database. Let's see, for tomorrow, well, we said negative open interest isn't really that impactful. Still, since there's a batch of 50 in there, apparently 50 bitcoins, I'm going to combine these. Let's take 1,445 bitcoins in the form of 83 contracts for the size. Upwards. From 10 bitcoins and up, there are 52. From 15 and up, there are 23. We can analyze the ones above 15. Look, we have a strategy here, which is actually pretty heavy too. Yeah, It's a long strangle, I think. Yes, it's a long strangle. Look, this long strangle is for 400 bitcoins. The trader opened this long strangle on October 26th, this morning, and you can see that the price has started moving toward the upper estimate of this trader. We're not that far off, either. The trader expects increased volatility for tomorrow and expects that either the 115 or the 300 level will be broken to the upside. We'd make a profit, or if the price breaks below 106, actually, if it breaks 106 and 600 from below, we'd make a profit from the downside. Given the direction the price is moving now, it seems we're heading toward the bullish scenario coming true. For this trader, that means above 115. So, who knows? We might even have to wait for 116 to be hit, because that's what this trader is looking for. Most of the time has already passed for this trader. They entered the trade early in the morning and have already seen above 115. Now, as you can see, the price is moving in the bullish direction, and even this trader's prediction is leaning that way, so this is probably our path. This is probably our path. Alright. 225 Bitcoin positions, all long calls. Took 113. Other trades we have. There's another 44 Bitcoin long call at 115,000. This 44 Bitcoin is a large position versus the long call at 115,000. Including this 200 Bitcoin position, greatly shaping the curve, you'll see. The shape of the curve tends more toward the upside. Without that strangle, without that long strangle, our chart is more bullish. Now you can see we're getting close to 114 again. Let's look at the liquidation. In the past 24 hours, we have a liquidity level at 114,600, now closer to the price, and another at 112,300. Upper target near price switch to 48H chart. Alright, let's check the 48-hour chart as well. There's more liquidity on the downside, but the upper liquidity is still around 114,500 to 115,000. You can see that this liquidity zone exists and the price is much closer to it. The target is within reach. So, we can hit this level, break this high, maybe even reach 116,000, and then spend some time consolidating here. It'll probably form a flag or make a pullback, and this pullback could even come down to 112,000, maybe just as a wick, meaning it could drop to sweep up the liquidity on the downside as well, and then continue its move. But just like I told you before, from the moment we broke this trend right here, where we reclaimed this high, the first high at 109, during this drop and downtrend, we reclaimed the first high here and moved up to this high. Then it got rejected again at the top. But this very high here, this 109 that the price reclaimed here, showed that there's a bullish tendency. The price showed us that it wants to move up in the future, and now we're seeing the result of that. The price. If we turn on the indicator, you'll see that the price is making a reversal. For a long time now, the reversal started right from here, the bands turned upward, and now their trend is strongly bullish. So in my opinion, we can now say up to a certain point, I'm willing to take the risk to say this. I think the chances for 104 and 105 are now slowly fading away, because, in our analyses, 104, 105,000, and even 100,000 were visible on the curve. In different places, it kept reminding us that there was a possibility of a reversal. I'm taking the risk to say that, in my opinion, the probability is fading hour by hour, especially if this high and that high, so especially if we reclaim this 116 high. At that point, the price has pretty much determined its path. If we move toward this high, the bullish side, here around 120, there's been some resistance. I think that's the previous high, and if we break through that, we could head toward 127, 128, or maybe even higher. So if we want to define a form or pattern for the price movement, maybe I can say it would look something like this. If we break through here, the move could be really strong and we might even pass 116, but I think we should expect a pause around here. If we head downward, it's possible too, maybe down to around 113 or 112.5, and then make another attempt to break through that 116 high. If we move upward, maybe we can imagine something like this for the price. Let's say I draw it like this. Something like this. Go up to around this high, and then pull back, down to even around 112.5, and then move up again to break through the 116 high. Thank you for your attention. I hope this was helpful, and until the next analysis, goodbye.